Good morning and welcome to Unity of Walnut Creek. Please stand and join us in singing You Are the Light. You are the light of love. I am the light of love. You are the light. I am the light. We are the light of love. You are the light of peace. I am the light of peace. You are the light. I am the light. We are the light of peace. You are the light of joy. I am the light of joy. You are the light. I am the light. We are the light of joy. You are the light of hope. I am the light of hope. You are the light. I am the light. We are the light of hope. You are the light of love. I am the light of love. You are the light. I am the light. We are the light of love.
Good morning. Welcome to our 9:30 service. My name is Sheila Gautreau. I am your assistant minister here at Unity of Walnut Creek, and it is my absolute pleasure to welcome you today to our service. And I particularly would like to offer a special welcome to those of you who are visiting with us for the very first time. We would love to meet you, and if you are willing to come out on the patio after service and come up and say hey. We also want to welcome those who are watching at home, so join me in giving a shout out to our friends at home. Hey! Hey! And now let us open our service by celebrating the power of affirmative prayer by saying together, there is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, the all-loving goodness of God. unity. And what is this thing called unity? We are a positive path to spiritual living. And we teach everyone the process of discovering the divinity within themselves by providing tools to support you in that journey called life, to apply them effectively and simply to your way of living in the world. We focus on a more global basis on the universality of God. While we recognize that there is only one God, we honor and recognize all paths to God. And so during our service, you will probably hear many different theologies in our music, in our meditation, in our message. We invite you to take it in, to connect with it, and to allow it to deepen your experience. Today we are focusing on spiritual relationships, deepening our relationships in our lives at a more spiritual level to make them work. And Mike and Michelle Robbins will be taking you deeply into an understanding of that. And we are honored to have as our musical guide today through this journey our very special friend, Carrie Hillary. And helping her today are our song leaders, Chip and Nancy Donovan, also known as Sounds of Grace. So I would like you to join them in singing our next congregation song, Releasing and Letting Go.
Choose to surrender. It's a conscious choice. I will balance dreams and needs, guided by God's voice. Trusting brings me freedom. I know this is so. Falling into arms of grace, releasing, letting go. So I invite you to settle into your chairs, become comfortable, and allow yourself to prepare for meditation by connecting with the music as you sing along with the meditation chant or just listen. Peace be with you. Peace be with you. Shalom. Peace. Shalom.
invite you to turn within. Remove anything from your hands and laps that might distract you. And if you feel comfortable in doing so, you may close your eyes to shut out any visual distractions. And breathe. Breathe in and through the deeper place of the heart. With every breath, allowing a greater peace to settle over you. Connecting with that calm place, that inner sanctuary, where there is always peace. Bring to that place the things in your life that often take you out of your peace. Let them go. Saying to yourself, I am poised and centered in divine consciousness. Nothing can disturb the calm peace of my soul. Breathe into that statement that it may become part of your heart. Part of your soul. Part of your very being. I am poised and centered in divine consciousness. Nothing can disturb the calm peace of my soul. Bring that more deeply into the very cells of your body. That every expression is that of peace. Despite what may be occurring in the outer world, within you, peace lives eternally. I am poised and centered in divine consciousness. Nothing can disturb the calm peace of my soul. Take that in, reflect on it. Let it be so for you as we rest in the silence. Beloved Father, Mother, God, in whom we live and move and have our being,
We are so grateful for everything in our lives, for every person in our lives, for every situation in our lives. We hold all things in peace, in loving peace. We speak the word of peace for our community here. We extend the word of peace to our world. We make a conscious commitment to live in peace, holding a place of peace within all our relationships, that they may function at a truly spiritual level. We offer peace and love to those experiencing challenges. We offer peace and love to those who are celebrating powerful expressions of the possibilities you so graciously offer for their lives. We thank you for all the good that always was, that is here right now and is ever unfolding and expressing in our lives. Divine love flows from my heart, sending peace and love into the world. Would you know this with me? Divine love flows from my heart, sending peace and love into the world. And again, divine love flows from my heart, sending peace and love into the world. And once more, divine love flows from my heart, sending peace and love into the world.
Peace be with you. Peace be with you. Shalom. Peace. Shalom. Shalom. Peace. Shalom.
And so it is. Amen and Ashe.
Power of one voice, power in each choice, the answer in each heart. New starts, the power of now, right here and now. The love that is one mind, embracing all mankind, trusting that it's time, the power of now, right here and now. Let us embrace our light, knowing that all is right. Guide our lives by opening up our eyes. The power that's inside, the power that's our guide, the power we can't hide or deny, the power that's now right here
Terry. That was absolutely beautiful. Good morning. My name is Leon, and it is my pleasure to highlight a few events for you. It's Birthday Sunday, so if you're celebrating a birthday this month, please stand so we may celebrate you. Hey. Have a blessed birthday. Our annual teddy bear drive the next 2 Sundays. So please bring your teddy bears to service so we may lovingly bless them before giving them to the children. Also, the book center is selling cute, cuddly bears for you to purchase. We have a new set of classes here at Unity called the Connection Classes. These classes are designed for you to meet and learn with those of spiritual like mind. They're 4-week classes and they begin November 10th. So please join us. We are blessed to have Reverend Jim Lee with us the 3rd Sunday of this month. He will bring a transformational workshop to us that is on inner awareness and co-creating the life that you want. So please join us. Details of these and other wonderful activities are in your bulletin and on our website. I would now like to invite David and Jackie to the platform.
Unity Goes Hollywood is this Saturday. And Jackie, where are you going?
I want to win the trip to Disneyland.
You look like you're dressed and ready to go. I'd love to be your chaperone.
Oh, I can't wait. It'll be such fun.
And I want to bid on the autographed Giants baseball. And definitely sign up for a bunch of play dates.
The whole evening is going to be such a blast. Everyone will be there. It's the biggest event of the year. And there'll be fabulous food and music for dancing.
It'll be a night to remember. And there's still time to get your tickets out on the patio today.
Amen.
It'll be such fun. Everyone needs to come to this event.
Jackie, I'm like you. I can't wait.
We'll see you all there.
While our guest musicians prepare a special musical selection for us, I invite you to greet those in your immediate area. And when the gong sounds, please take a seat so we can enjoy special music from Lisa and Tyler. Return to your seats while we open our hearts with beautiful music. Thank you.
Gonna open up my heart to the world around me. Share a smile with everyone I see. This is what I believe. What we give, we will receive. to share a little love with the world around me. Do my best to lift somebody up. Share the love I feel inside, something deep I just can't hide. It's time to open up my heart. To open up my heart. Share the love we feel inside, something deep we just can't hide. It's time to open up our hearts. Time to open up our hearts. Sing it with me. Open up our hearts. Beautiful. Let's do it again. Open up our hearts. Like we really mean it. Open up our
Thank you, Carrie. I'm just so delighted to welcome back to our spiritual community Mike and Michelle Robbins. Mike is a teacher, speaker, and author of 2 books focusing on the good stuff, and my favorite title, Be Yourself, Everybody Else is already taken. Isn't that cool? And his 3rd book is coming out in May of 2014, correct? Yes. And Michelle is a hypnotherapist. She is also a workshop leader and a spiritual counselor. And she has been leading individuals and groups for quite some time. This afternoon, they are going to present right here in the sanctuary a very powerful workshop on spiritual relationships. They're going to be showing you the challenges that arise in our relationships, our family relationships, our romantic relationships, our professional relationships, and providing you with some simple but effective tools to be able to manage your relationships and creating a deeper love. May I please invite and welcome Mike and Michelle Robbins.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Oh, I'm over here, I guess. So how many of you have ever had a situation where you wanted to ask for something, but you were nervous about it or feeling insecure about it? All of us, right? So our talk here is on spiritual relationships, which we'll be talking about later today at the workshop as well, but I thought it'd be good to start in relation to that when Michelle and I actually first met. So when I first met Michelle, I really wanted to ask her for her phone number to ask her out on a date, but I was feeling kind of insecure about it. We met, it was 13 years ago last week in San Francisco, and I'd been traveling a bit, and I came back home to the Bay Area here, and Michelle and I both at the time were participating in a bunch of personal growth workshops through an organization called Landmark Education, and an office in San Francisco, and so I went in to visit a friend of mine because I'd been gone, and Michelle was actually volunteering in the office that day, and I hadn't met her, and I was very excited when I met her, and like I said, I wanted to ask her for a number, ask her out, but the reason I was feeling insecure, first of all, I had no idea, was she in a relationship? I couldn't quite, she seemed to be flirting with me a little, but I couldn't quite tell, and I was making it up in my mind, but at the time, I had actually lost my job a few months earlier and had gone traveling, but I wasn't working. So I wasn't feeling like, super confident in myself. I didn't even have a business card or anything to hand to her. So I scratched my name and my email address, I think, and my phone number on a piece of paper, and I'm thinking, I should just ask her. And I'm like, in my head, you ever do this? I'm in my head trying to figure out what could I say or how could I say this. And I was there for a while, and one thing I had found out about Michelle was that at the time, she was taking this 7-month-long leadership training program that I had actually taken. And I had some experience in the organization and had led some workshops and coached some people. So then I thought to myself, oh, well, maybe that would be a way that I could, get to know her a little bit better. So I walk over to her very confidently, and somewhat inauthentically say to her, "Hey, Michelle, it's nice to meet you today. Here's my phone number. Call me up if I could help you with your homework." That's what I said, right? Yeah, it's kind of lame, right? I mean, she looked at me a little odd, but she gave me her business card, so I got her number, which I was excited about. But I leave and walk back to my car, and I'm thinking, that was totally lame. I can't believe that's what I said, right? But anyway, I didn't want to seem too excited, and, so I decided I was going to wait a few days to call her because, I was going to be cool. So Saturday afternoon, when I meet her, Monday morning, I go for a run. I come back to my apartment. I pick up my messages, and there's a message from Michelle. And the message just says, "Hi, Mike, this is Michelle. Just happy to meet you on Saturday. Listen, I want to know if you really meant what you said about helping me with my homework, because I could use some help. Could you call me back?" So now I'm like, oh, I like this woman. She's like pretty direct and straightforward. But now I'm like, okay, so I debate for a while about what I'm going to say when I call her back, and I'm happy to help her with her homework. But anyway, so I get her on the phone, and I say, "Hey, Michelle, it's Mike. Listen, thanks for your message. It was great to meet you as well. And look, I'm happy to help you with your homework, but I got to be honest, I was just trying to figure out a way to ask you for your phone number so I could ask you out on a date." And then there was dead silence on the other end. And I'm like, uh-oh, maybe that wasn't the right thing to say. And then after the silence, she laughs out loud and said, "Oh, good, I'd rather go out on a date anyway." So then we went out on our first date about a week later. And, one of the things about that, as we reflect on that, and in the context of what we're here to talk about today in terms of spiritual relationships, is that relationships are really about us learning about ourselves from the people we're in relationship with. And the two key elements of that we believe are really about authenticity and appreciation.
And for me, I had been dating a lot of guys, and I actually had been engaged before, and speaking here is really funny to me because I was engaged at the time and went to premarital counseling here, and one session I said, "I need to have a session just with the counselor." And I met with him, and I said, "I don't really want to marry him." And he said, "Well, then you need to tell him." And so coming back here is a little full circle for me.
Yes. So we are great. Wherever that counselor is, we're grateful for that guy.
So being authentic in that I knew when I was dating before Mike, I was dating several men because I realized that I kept dating one person. And I would put all of my energy there, and that wasn't really working very well. So I decided, okay, I'm just going to do something different. I'm going to date lots of people and keep it very casual, but just kind of experiment, like, what kind of guy do I really want to be with? And then I met Mike, and then I had a lot of people. Once I met him, I interviewed several of my girlfriends that also knew him, and I said, "Okay, what about this guy Mike?" And they said, "Oh, yes, he's perfect for you. He's perfect for you." And then the one guy that knew him said, "Yep, that's the guy for you." And then I thought, okay, I'm going to do something different. I've never called a guy before. I'm going to call him. And then I called him, and I was so glad that he was authentic with me right away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and one of the things as we think about this, as we talk about this, spiritual relationships, spiritual partnerships are about our love relationships, our romantic relationships, but really anybody we're in a relationship with is important to us. And, one of the things, Michelle and I were actually talking about this as we drove out here. We live in Marin. We were driving over this morning. We were talking about a conversation that we had about 6 months into our relationship. And after we met and had gone out on that date, we did really like each other, but we were trying to work out sort of where we were in life and what we wanted and what was going on. And we had some bumps in the road, even right out of the gate. And there was a conversation that we had that Michelle brought up as we were trying to sort of figure out our relationship. And one of the things she said to me was, what if we stop trying to figure out what this relationship is and just more genuinely lean into it? Because if it's meant to be that we're going to be together, we will. And if it's not, we won't. But what if we could learn as much as possible from each other? Whether it's for the next few weeks or few months, or for a few years, or whenever, and then if the relationship ends, we'll both be in a better place to then go be in other relationships, if that's what we choose to do. And if we end up being together, we'll be more authentically together. And that conversation that we had was really a touchstone or a catalyst for us over the last 13 years as we've been together to really have our relationship be about our marriage, and we now have 2 girls and a full life and family and all of that, but really also about our own personal and spiritual growth. That's what spiritual relationships are about. A number of years ago when my first book, Focus on the Good Stuff, came out, I got invited down to Los Angeles to the Agape International Spiritual Center down there, which I was excited to be invited the very first time. I was going to do a book signing there. I was really excited. And, you know, Michael Beckwith is the minister there. Some of you probably know who he is. And the end of the service, he did a recommitment ceremony for a couple. And he had them come up on stage, and he explained they'd been married, I think, for 10, 15 years, and they were just renewing their vows. And it was very, very brief. But he stood there, and he looked at the couple, and he said to the woman, he said, your job is to be his biggest fan and his greatest critic for the purpose of his spiritual development. And then he said the same thing to the husband. And as he was saying it, I sat there and I actually burst into tears because I was like, whoa, it was so simple but so profound. And I remember rushing out of the church and I called you. Remember, I called you on the phone and I said, it's both. It's both. And one of the things that I know I've learned and at times struggled with over the course of our marriage and our relationship and with other people that are important to me in my life, not just the person that I'm married to, is how to balance that and how to really be authentic and at the same time express the appreciation, the love, and do it not only for the benefit of the person, but also for me and for our relationship. And that takes real courage. And so the first core principle that we believe related to this is authenticity. So what does that mean to you? When you hear authentic, and you think about in the context of your relationships in particular, what does it mean to be authentic? Real, honest, tell it like it is, open, accountable, present. Yeah. It's all of those things. You know, but the interesting thing about it a lot of times, I think a lot of times we think about it in context of what we say, and that's a part of it, being honest, tell it like it is. But sometimes there's actually a piece of it that's deeper than that. Right? I speak about authenticity a lot because, you know, one of the books I wrote is on authenticity. I remember a woman coming up to me. It was actually right here in Walnut Creek, right after the book came out, I did a talk. And this woman comes up to me, and I talk a lot in the context of business and other things, and she comes right up to me afterwards, and she gets right in my face. She says, I'm authentic all the time. And I was like, all right. And she was like upset, right? And I said, well, what's the problem? And she goes, well, I've lost some jobs because of that. And I said, really? Now, I didn't know her, right? But I was getting a very strong sense of her in that moment. And I looked her in the eye, and I asked her, I said, well, tell me the truth. Is it authentic or obnoxious? And she was like, oh, all offended, right? And I said, listen, I'm not trying to offend you or even judge you, but I'm just curious. What do you think? And she said, well, maybe a little bit of both. I said, all right, I appreciate the honesty. I said, I bet it was the obnoxious that got you fired, not the authentic. Because people don't get fired for being too real. Right? And in relationship, it doesn't damage the relationship when we're too real with each other. But sometimes, us telling it like it is can be detrimental to the relationship, right? So what makes it difficult? What makes it challenging for us to be authentic? What do you think in relationships? You don't want to hurt people's feelings, right? What else makes it difficult or challenging?
Fear of losing the relationship.
Fear of losing the relationship. Absolutely. That's a big one, right? We get attached. We don't want to hurt someone's feelings. We don't want them to go away. We don't want them to turn away from us. Our own ego gets in the way. Yeah, absolutely, right? We don't want to look bad. What else, babe? What do you think? What makes it difficult for us? You and me, but people in general, it makes it difficult for us to be authentic.
I think the biggest thing is not wanting to hurt somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, and one of the things, though, look, sometimes it has to do with just not even understanding how other people operate. Even if we're with someone for a really long time, realizing that we're different sometimes can make it difficult. But not wanting to hurt, how many of you don't want to hurt other people's feelings? You don't want to hurt other people's feelings? Yeah, most of us don't. You know what I realized a few years ago? I actually don't care that much about hurting other people's feelings. I don't. I mean, not like I want to. I'm not, but I realized it actually, for me, is more about not wanting them not to like me. So as much as I don't want to hurt Michelle's feelings, of course I don't, I really want to make sure she's not mad at me or not upset with me or doesn't withhold something, or, right, that all of a sudden that'll be bad for me, so therefore I'm not going to say it. But here's what we're finding, what's really interesting. And I'm fascinated with this given the work that I do, the work that we do, but that people are actually one of the key drivers, probably the primary driver in relationships, in building trust and intimacy in relationships, is vulnerability. A willingness to be vulnerable with other people, to let them see who we really are, how we really feel, what's really going on. What makes that hard? What gets in our way? What stops us from being vulnerable with each other?
Fear of getting hurt.
Fear of getting hurt, right? They might not like what they see. Yeah. What if that happens, right? And the crazy thing about it is, I remember years ago, it was actually right before we were about to get married, a spiritual counselor of mine said to me, he said, Mike, one of the things that happens when you meet someone and you fall in love with someone is there's a lot of fear and there's a lot of insecurity, right? Will they like me? What do they think? What's going to happen? Where are we headed? All that stuff. And over time, as you get closer with someone, a lot of that fear starts to dissipate. But he said there's one fear that doesn't go away, and in fact it gets worse the closer you get. He says the fear of loss. Because the closer you get to someone, the more attached you get, the more important that someone is, the more you have to lose. And he said, really, there's no secret formula, there's no magic potion I can give you. He said the only thing you can really do is acknowledge the fear, take a deep breath, and keep loving anyway. And it's one of the most vulnerable, if not the most vulnerable experiences we have as a human being, is to commit ourselves, open our heart to another person, giving them permission. You have permission to break my heart. And that takes courage. And we often stop short of that. And even in simple day-to-day ways, one of the ways that we can start to look at how do we become and start to be more authentic, more vulnerable in our relationships. One of them is just, we were talking about this in the car, right? Asking for what we want. Mm-hmm. And for some of us, I know we've talked about this, it can be challenging to ask for what we want, right?
Like the little things or the bigger things. Earlier this week, I had realized that we moved recently and we had in our old house a water filter. And I loved it. And we were moving to our new house and we have a built-in filter. And I thought, well, that's ridiculous. We shouldn't be spending the money on having it when we already have a filter.
We used to get the jugs delivered, the water
cooler. Well, we started
thing.
off going and filling up at Whole Foods and then dragging them back to our house. And that wasn't working too well with 2 kids. So they came to our house. And then I realized, I really miss having that water. I love having the cold water and I love having the hot water. But I felt really spoiled about it. And I felt like there's people in the world that don't even have enough water, and I want the cold and the hot. And so I didn't want to tell him that I had this wish that I really wanted our water filter back. And I finally told him, I said, I have something to tell you, but I feel like a diva. And he started laughing.
What do you want? What's going on?
And I said, I really miss our water filter, and I feel really spoiled about it, but I really, really miss having it. And I miss having the girls be able to get their own water and not telling me, Mommy, can I have some water, because they can't reach the filter. And he's like, that's all? He probably thought I wanted a Porsche or something.
Right. Water filter, easy, right?
But even that little thing, I felt like that uncomfortableness of asking for what I wanted.
Yeah. Well, and it is for a lot of us. Look, making requests, saying, here's what I want. I love the saying, and we say this a lot as a reminder to each other, but the answer is always no if you don't ask. And one of the things we do in relationships is, look, it can be wonderful when you're close enough with someone that they understand, they know you, they know what you want, they know what you need, they know what's important to you. Absolutely. But one of the games that we play with each other in a manipulative way is we expect the other person to read our mind, know what we want, and then we're resentful when they don't. It's a total setup for both the person we're in a relationship with and for us. And if we just had the courage to say, you know what, this is what I want. This is what's important to me. And to remember, again, even when we're in a relationship with people for a long time, is to honor the differences that we have. It's interesting because the other piece of this is we're going to talk about authenticity, but also appreciation, is being able to appreciate people and celebrate even the differences. And being here in Walnut Creek, we used to live in Concord, and Michelle's dad and stepmom who are here, Jerry and Chris, our in-laws, my in-laws, they live right here in Walnut Creek. And I was actually thinking, and Jerry, I don't know if I've ever shared this specific story with you, but after Michelle and I had been dating for a few months, I went over to Marin, which is actually where Jerry and Michelle both grew up, to Michelle's grandmother's house, who's no longer with us, but she's big grandma, had a big dinner at grandma's house. Grandma was the matriarch of the family. I was going to meet it. I think I'd met Jerry and maybe Michelle's brother, Steve, but I hadn't met the rest of the family, so I go to dinner at their house. And I want to be on good behavior. I want them to like me. I want this to go well. And so we go to dinner, and it's fine, and everything seemed fine, and they're very nice, pleasant people, and they seem to like me. It seemed to go pretty well, and we get in the car to drive home, and so I'm like, so, how'd I do? And she's like, fine. And I'm like, that's it? I can't get, how'd I do it? Fine. Well, she said, well, how'd you think it went? I said, I think it was great. I really like your family. I said, but I noticed they don't talk all that much. And she says, I know, because you talk the whole time. And I was like, what do you mean? And she said, in my family, we don't interrupt. And I was like, oh, really? Well, in my family, if you didn't interrupt, you didn't get to say anything, right? But it was actually a really good piece of information for me to understand about her family and her, and it was like, oh, we're different. And as simple as that is, it's understanding and honoring both being ourselves. So we got to be ourselves, but at the same time, remember the people we're in relationship with aren't exactly like us. And that's actually a beautiful thing. That's one of the ways we learn and grow. And one of the things that's important about that, so being authentic, being ourselves, being vulnerable, but also being able to appreciate and acknowledge the people that we're in relationship with. Now, what makes that one hard? What gets in our way of appreciating and acknowledging other people, especially the people closest to us? They might take advantage of us. Right? You said something yesterday when we were talking about this related to that.
I remember when Mike and I were first dating that I really wanted to share with him how much I liked him, but I felt like if I told him that, then he wouldn't want to date me anymore. Like, that there was this vulnerable piece of like, I really, really like you, and then he was just going to say, oh, well, that's it.
Yeah. And that fear that we'll get taken advantage of, that somehow, right? And sometimes people will say this to me, and this happens in a work context, but sometimes people will say this to me in the context of their relationship. Well, I don't want to send mixed messages. Right? There's things that aren't working, or there's things that I don't like. So therefore, we withhold our appreciation until everything's perfect, which never happens. It just never does. And the thing is that it actually can be a really powerful instigator for us engaging with people, but also learning a lot. And there's lots of different ways that we can appreciate people. I was actually just thinking of something as we were sitting here. About a year ago, I was scheduled to take a trip to Europe. I was speaking in Dublin, Ireland, which I was excited about, and it was a Sunday. I go to the airport, and I get to the airport, and I'm on the phone as I'm getting up, and I'm there like 2 hours early like I'm supposed to be, and I travel a lot, and I know the drill, and I reach into my bag, and I realize I forgot my passport. And I get off the phone real quick with who I was talking to, and I'm thinking, okay, no problem, this will be fine. I go up to the front, I explain the situation. I just left, my house is in Marin, I got my thing, I'm here early, but my passport's had a problem. They said, it's a big problem. And I said, so what's the deal? They said, basically, if you don't have your passport an hour before the flight closes in, you'll miss the flight. So I start to panic. It's Sunday, Michelle's home with the girls, and I call her and have to explain to her that I've let my passport sitting on my desk at our house. And so she rearranges everything and gets the girls taken care of and jumps and grabs the passport and races down to SFO to get to me. And by the time she gets there, she got there as fast as she possibly could. It's like 45 minutes before the flight, they shut me out. I can't get on the flight. It ended up costing, I had to get there because I was speaking 2 days later. It cost me $1,300 to get on another flight. And I was mortified because it was this completely ridiculous mistake that I made that was totally avoidable. And I put it on her, and it was a whole thing stressful. And the thing that was so amazing about it is I felt so vulnerable and so embarrassed. And she was so gracious with me and so sweet and so kind about it. And in some ways it made it better. In some ways it almost made it worse because, at some ego level, if she'd gotten all mad at me, I think then I could have gotten mad back, and then I wouldn't have had to deal with the fact that, But what was so wonderful about it, as I reflected, as I was flying to Ireland, was I want to be more like that. And it started to have me realize that both in my relationship with Michelle and sometimes with my girls and with people in general, that I can get critical about things, or I can get and with myself. And so it was this beautiful way that without her even saying anything, just the way that she was being with me, I felt really appreciated and I felt loved and taken care of, even though I'd made a mistake that had cost us a lot of money, it cost her a lot of time, and it had just been a difficult situation all the way around. So sometimes us not saying anything, just being with the people we're with and letting them, it's okay for you to be upset right now. It's okay for you to make a mistake. It's okay for you to whatever, be going through whatever you're going through. Sometimes our desire to sort of give helpful advice, even though it may come from a good place, may not be actually what the person needs. You know, one of my favorite questions that we ask each other at times when we get upset, either with each other or in general, is, what do you need right now? And we've gotten good, even over all these years, even as sensitive as we both can be, to sometimes saying, I need to not be around you. Right? And that one, if we don't take it personally, is actually wonderful. Well, thanks, okay, great, you know? Okay. But the question to ask yourself in regards to the people that are most important to you is, what do you appreciate about them? What do you value about them? What do they do or say, or how do they show up in a way that impacts your life in a positive way? You know, and if you, sometimes as we have this conversation, and I love, Michelle's been such a great teacher for me on this, sometimes we may feel like we're not being appreciated as much as we would like. And I don't know about you, but I haven't met anyone who's ever told me, you know what, I'm just too appreciated. I mean, my husband just goes over the top, it's totally annoying. No, I mean, most of us, if we're honest about it, we would like a little more, sometimes a lot more, depending on who it is and in the situation, right? But there's a simple fix for that in some cases.
Well, I had noticed that in prior relationships before being with Mike that I felt underappreciated a lot, and that I would do things and they would go unnoticed. So I decided again in my experiment of like, well, it didn't work before, I'm going to try something new. I decided that I was going to let him know when I wanted to be appreciated. But I didn't know how to do that without coming across as naggy. So I just decided to raise my hand and say, I would like to be acknowledged. And then I would tell him all of the things that I did that day that made his life easier. And so I would set him up to win of telling me, okay, now you can reflect back to me all the things that I did.
Yeah, she did. She just raised her hand right at dinner and said, I would like to be acknowledged. And I was like, what is that? What do you mean? That's like cheating. You can't do that. But she did, and what happened over time was she started to train me in terms of what was important to her to pay attention to. Right? And even from time to time, she'll say it to both me and the girls. She'll be standing in the kitchen, just raise her hand, everybody, stop. I would like to be acknowledged.
That was a great dinner.
That was, yeah. But the thing is, again, like asking for what we want, if we're feeling resentful, if we're feeling underappreciated, we could actually, do it in kind of a funny way, but do it in a vulnerable way. Not as a judgment, not as like, hey, you don't appreciate me, hey, I'm doing all this, hey, right? Because look, underneath most arguments that we have with the people we're in relationship with, particularly our love relationships, is some version of, you don't see everything that I'm doing. You don't see, and not feeling valued. And we can actually ask for that in a vulnerable way and let them know. And they'll either respond in kind or they won't, but we can do that. And by giving it, we set the condition and set the environment that it's going to happen more often. So the last little piece of this, as we wrap this up, something we'll delve into in the workshop as well that I'm excited about, is that all of this, as it relates to spiritual relationship, actually comes back to our relationship with ourselves. Because one of the reasons it's most difficult to be authentic in relationships, one of the reasons it can be difficult to appreciate the people we're with, has to do with how we relate to ourselves. And we have a tendency to be hypercritical of ourselves. And there's a game that Michelle and I play with our girls. Love this game. I started doing it with the girls a couple years ago, and now we do it. And here's how the game goes. I just did it actually with our little one, Rosie, this morning. The girls are 7 and 5, right? Samantha's 7, Rosie's 5. And we'll say to the girls, I'll say to them, like this morning, I say, hey, Rosie, how much does Daddy love you? And Rosie goes like this much. I say, that's right. And then I ask her a very important question. I say, how come Daddy loves you so much? You know what she says? Because I'm me. And we do it with the girls for 2 reasons. First of all, we want to let them know we don't just love them because they're cute. We don't just love them when they listen. It's easier when they listen, right? But we don't just love them when they do the right thing. We don't just love them because they scored a goal in the soccer game or whatever, right? We love them just because. And we also do it for ourselves as a reminder, because it's easy to forget, and I'm sure it will continue to be easy to forget at certain times when we don't like what they're doing, but also on a personal level. I don't know about you, but I picked up as a kid and as an adolescent and growing up that my value had to do with what I did, how I looked, and what I achieved. And so the reminder for ourselves that we can have that level of unconditional love and acceptance for ourselves. We can practice it in relationship with others, but as we really master it for ourselves, all of a sudden it transforms every single relationship that we have, because we're the common denominator in all those relationships. So that's what it really takes for us to have spiritual relationships. Thank you.
Please join us in singing I Let.
I let the love wash over me. 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 I let the truth 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 wash over me. Grace. I let the grace wash over me. 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 Joy. I let the joy wash over me. 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 I let the joy wash over me.
If you would like prayer support for any challenges or celebrations, please see our heart ministers. They will be available after the service here in the sanctuary and on the patio. Our heart ministers are wearing the lavender stoles. We have something new here at Unity, and please join me in taking our connection cards from the seat pocket in front of you. We really hope that everyone would fill this card out so that we can support you in your spiritual journey. If you are on Unity Connects, please place your name on the card and check the corresponding box. If you are new, please check the first time box so that we can send you a gift and a gift certificate to a Unity event as our guest. We also have a welcome table on the patio where we would love to meet you. We hope that everyone will share with us your prayer request. Please let us know if you're committing to join us in our weekly spiritual focus. Our spiritual focus this week is spiritual relationships. The ushers will receive the cards with the offering toward the end of the service so that everyone has time to complete their card. And it is now time for our prosperity celebration. For credit card donations and Love in Action, please, there are envelopes in the back of each chair. At Unity, we know that the divine seeks to provide us each with abundance. Giving is one of the ways in which we expand our hearts to fully embrace the divine provision into our lives. I invite you to now take your tithe or offering into your hand and know that God is the source of all your good. Please join me in saying our prayer for, our prosperity word. Together. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I give, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God.
Open up, God, open up, God, open up to change. Open up, God, open up, God, open up to change. Looking ever deeper, seeking a new way, trying to shift my thinking, embrace a higher way. Open up, you can sing it with me. God, open up to change. God, open up to change. Let's do that again. Open up. God, open up. God, open up to
in the light of God. We are walking, walking, we are walking, walking, we are walking in the light of God. We are walking, walking, we are walking, walking, we are walking in the light of God.
Let us bless our children. I don't remember what the new blessing is, so you will help me because I can't see it. Okay, together.
Children, you are loved, special, and important. The light of God shines through you.
So let us stand and do our peace songs and our prayer for protection. Together, the light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And our peace song.
Peace that was meant to be, with God ever present, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me, let this be the moment now. Step I take, let this be my joy as well. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
You are the light, the love, and the peace in the earth right now. So let it shine and what?
Have fun!